Searching data. Search complete. Yes, I was there in the robotics lab. It would seem this robot's testimony is necessary to this case after all. This is great. I just knew Ponko must have seen something important. The murder committed right before this poor little girl's eyes. It's inexcusable. The judge seems ready to adopt Ponko as another grandchild. So, little Ponko, do you think you can give us your testimony today? There we go. What a game this has been. We've cross-examined an orca, a robot, a bird. What I saw. I went to the robotics lab at about 2 PM for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that I was recharging, so I don't know anything. After I charged up, I was cleaning the room and Mr. Simon came in. And then an error occurred. There's no data after that point. It's when he took it apart. And it sounds like the defendant was, without question, at the scene. However, it doesn't appear that the witness saw the actual moment of the murder. I disagree. This testimony shows that the defendant did indeed commit the crime. But at the end of the day, we mustn't forget that this witness is still a machine. Being a robot, its understanding and capacity to express itself are limited. So what are you suggesting? The witness's statements need to be interpreted. For example, the term hugged, and then later fell down. Adults don't usually fall down after being hugged by a child. They don't, but... Yes, what this witness's statements are telling us is that the defendant stabbed the victim with the murder weapon during this moment. What? Before Miss Cykes hugged Dr. Cykes, did the two of them converse? Yes, they did. They spoke to each other very loudly, but I don't know what they said. Athena is usually so quiet, so I was surprised. Spoke very loudly. We can interpret this to mean they argued. I see. Murder after a heated argument. And then the victim fell down. I agree that it does sound like a reasonable interpretation. However, Ponko doesn't seem to remember anything that happened after that. When I am recharging, I go into sleep mode. But I remember everything before that. I have a very good memory. You may as well admit defeat now, right? A cross-examination would be useless. Don't be ridiculous. A cross-examination is never useless. Until now, think about it. Robots don't lie. This robot is both an important witness and valuable evidence at the same time. Nevertheless, I will have my cross-examination. I see you haven't changed. You never were one to worry about wasting time. Very well. Even if it may be a waste of time, you may proceed, Mr. Wright. I'll show you both just how fruitful my any cross-examinations can be. I thought it said my cross-examinations. So only when I'm doing it. Hey, Agent Trent. How's it going? What I saw. I went to the robotics lab at about 2 PM for my regular recharge. Your regular recharge? What is that exactly? I have to refill my battery's power or else I stop working. I go to the lab to do that. So that recharge occurred around 2 PM, around the time of the murder. That's right. I go every day at 2 PM. That's good, I'm glad to hear that. As I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. Hugged her, huh? Which Edgeworth took to mean stabbed her with a weapon. You said the two of them were talking before Miss Cykes hugged her mother, is that right? Yes, they were talking very loudly. but I couldn't tell what they were saying. Couldn't tell. Even though they were speaking so loudly? I'm only allowed to listen to voices that are directed at me. If it listened to every voice, it would be little better than a mobile eavesdropper. Well, that explains why some of Ponko's testimony is so vague. It's a shame that our little friend wasn't listening in, however. We could have learned what they were talking about just before Dr. Cykes was killed. Now then, what happened after that? Then Mommy Metis fell down. After that I was recharging, so I don't know anything. I don't want to delve too deeply here, but... could you tell us how the victim appeared and acted at this moment? Mommy Metis was very surprised when she was hugged. I heard her heart pound. Huh? Her heart? Mr. Wright, have you forgotten about this document we found in the robotics lab? I mean, no, but... I didn't read it. These robots have a heartbeat detection system. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Now that you mentions it, I do remember reading something like that here. Oh, there. The presence of a human with their heartbeat detection system. There it is. They detect the presence of people by the sound of their heartbeats. Wait a minute. That means... if Dr. Cykes really did die at that moment, or at this moment... Ponko, how was Dr. Cykes after she fell down? Could you still hear the sound of her heartbeat? Let's see. The moment she fell, her heart was pounding. After that, I don't know. I started recharging just then. Of all the unlucky timing, if you had heard anything after that... it could have possibly proved that the hug wasn't actually the moment of the murder. I'm very sorry. I'm afraid I don't know. I'm very sorry. The robot is designed to go into sleep mode automatically, so it can't be helped. But it does appear it detected an increased heart rate at the moment of the stabbing. Great. After Mommy Metis's heart started pounding in surprise, she fell by the window. It was the round window on the workbench side of the room. The workbench, huh? Ponko must be talking about about that table to the right of where the giant robot is now. Right. Is there something critical in Ponko's statement just now? Didn't she die, like, much closer to the what is it? I'm going to say yes. It'll probably get added to it as a testimony. Your Honor, I believe this statement is critical. I'd like it added to a testimony. Very well. Ponko, could you please add that statement to your testimony? That's a good little girl. Fell down near the round window on the workbench side of the room. Do I have anything I could use? 7-year-old photos. Is that... oh! There is no table. I mean, there is, but it's a lot smaller, maybe. It might just be the angle of the table. But I would go with the fact she fell near the window, which is here, but her body was found on the operating table. Oh, whatever that is, the chair. Which is on the other side of the room, so... yeah, okay. Presenting the photos. How do you explain that? Ponko, your statement may have just inspired a breakthrough. I was helpful? Hooray! I'm so happy. Just to be sure, let's go over it again, okay? The victim fell near the window on the workbench side of the room. However, I think it's because they pointed out the table. That's when I was like, that must be important. My first thought was the fact that it looked like she died on the chair. But because they pointed out a table, my mind just instantly jumped to that. Her body was discovered on the operating table. But the operating table and the workbench are two different locations. Exactly. Exactly, Your Honor. We've just learned a new, crucial fact. What could explain the two very different locations of the body? I'll tell you what. The defendant moved the body. The victim moved the body. Oh wait, no. It's not moving the body, it's the victim moved. Which means she didn't die. And her autopsy report said it was instantaneous. An 11-year-old girl couldn't have moved the heavy body of an adult. So the only explanation is that the victim walked to the operating table herself. In other words, what Ponko observed near the workbench couldn't possibly have been the moment of the murder. Whew. I'm very relieved to hear that. Glad to know that the murder wasn't committed in front of the little Ponko here. Oh my god. Yes, as we just heard in the testimony, Miss Cykes hugged her mother, nothing more. Maybe it was like a hug that caught her by surprise. Or something. Right. It's been 8 years, but you're still just as green as ever. Green? But I can't recall ever seeing Mr. Wright in anything but a blue suit. Somehow I knew he was going to point that out. Hey, blue's my favourite colour. What can I say? If the defendant couldn't move the body herself, she could have had it moved for her. Moved for her? But Miss Cykes and Dr. Cykes were the only ones there. I agree, since this robot is equipped with a heartbeat detection system. It would have been aware of another person's presence if someone else had been there. We can therefore conclude that the defendant and the victim were the only ones present. Then who do you suggest moved the body? Ponko? Don't you know it's in the nature of a robot to help people do things? Miss Ponko, allow me to ask you a question. It's Ponko. Dude. My name is Ponko. Say it with me. Ponko. I believe you said you were cleaning after Dr. Cykes fell down. Did you happen to move something large onto the operating table? Yes. Yes, I did. Athena asked me to. Oh, fuck. Athena asked you to? And what did you move, little Ponko? I don't know. Unless something has an ID tag, I can't tell what it is. An ID? An ID tag, you say? Yes, a tag with a barcode on it. We robots scan them to tell us what a thing is. That paper in the lab did mention something about that. Recognize a person, that's a facial thing. Recognize these people by scanning their spacesuit or uniform jacket ID tag, it said. Oh no, I lost internet. Crap. I think I've connected. Maybe. Cool. Right, it said. So it would appear that Miss Ponko here can't identify what it moved. My name is Ponko. But we humans have the power to imagine what it was, do we not? We do? Well, I do at the very least. Miss Ponko, on the defendant's command... Oh, move the body onto the operating table. But Ponko, did you really move Dr. Cykes' body? I'm just trying to sort things out with OBS. I've lost my restream chat. Can I just deactivate it and reactivate it? Again, I'm just trying to get it so it shows up. Nope, it just says unknown error occurred. Try again later. Fuck. My life. Oh well. This is really important. Is there any way you could tell? I'm just gonna open it on my phone. Without an ID tag, I can't tell. Give it up, Wright. If the victim's heart was stopped, the robot's detection system would be useless. Furthermore, Dr. Cykes usually wore her white coat while she was working. White coat? Oh, right, yeah. She kept the jacket with her ID tag on it draped over the chair in the robotics lab. And only wore it for special occasions. In other words, the victim wasn't wearing her ID tag at the time. From the robot's point of view, her body was simply just another object. but Ponko is equipped with a facial recognition system. Oh, there we go. If she really did move the victim, she would have recognized the body as Dr. Cykes. But she didn't, so that means... her face can easily be covered with a piece of cloth, a mask, or anything else for that matter. With her facial features hidden, the robot wouldn't be able to tell if it was Dr. Cykes. He's right. To summarize, Miss Cykes stabbed her mother near the workbench, then using the robot. She moved the body to the table where she removed the sword and was stained with blood. And was stained in blood. I'm just trying to get my fucking chat working. Oh, come on. Order, but if that's the case, then I have a question. An important one. Why did the defendant move the body to the operating table in the first place? You want a reason? Very well. What? You can't possibly have an explanation. Your emotions blind you to the truth. You could learn a lot from our robot friend. Or friends. Calm and rational thought will open your eyes to the truth in front of you, Mr. Wright. Now then, do you remember the operating table's one special feature? I believe I read that robots can be assembled and disassembled there. Isn't that right? That's right, and to the defendant, who was just a child at the time... Oh... the table was like a magic box that could make robots appear or disappear in seconds. Oh dear. But in the end, my mom just put her on the operating table and fixed her in a flash. I was so impressed by what my mom did. Even after she would put me on the table and fix me if I ever got hurt. It looked just like magic to me, what she could do. You can't possibly be suggesting... Oh, but I am. This young, sheltered girl had a difficult time distinguishing robots from people. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Cykes who bandaged it up like that. Yeah, because she thought that's how it healed. The silly goose. She must have thought that machines heal in the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild. No way. I refuse to believe it. Miss Cykes made a childish, naive and cruel mistake. She thought that if a robot could be dismantled and vanish without a trace... Prosecutor Ridgeworth, if you're about to claim what I think you are, I demand that you word it as delicately as you can. With all due respect, Your Honor, all I can do is present the truth as it stands. The reason the defendant moved the victim's body to the operating table... No, don't say another word. Just stop. Was to dismantle the evidence so that she could get away with her crime. Jesus. That can't be... true. It does seem a bit... out there. I'm just gonna have to open up the chat on, my browser. Piece of shit. Order! Order in the court! Order in the court, I say! I say! Jeez. Well, there we go. It's up and ready now. I just have to move me window. so I don't want to break anything. Right there, cool. Edgeworth, she was just a little kid. How can you say such a horrible thing? Horrible? Like I said, you're just as green as ever. There we go, I've just put it basically over where the chat would be on OBS. Covering up a little bit more because of, like, the bookmark bar and everything. I came here today as a prosecutor to seek only the truth. No more, no less. My theory is simply the result of a rational consideration of every possibility.
Objection!
But dismantling isn't the table's only function. It can make repairs as well. It's conceivable that Miss Cykes moved her mother to the table in order to fix her. I suppose that can be another way of interpreting it. But dismantle or repair, it doesn't matter either way. I've also just realised it's been an hour, and I've barely made any headway in, this first half, so this might be 2 sessions. Whatever. What do you mean? After murdering her mother, Miss Cykes may have come to her senses. Or perhaps she did want to make it appear as if it had never happened. And that's why she tried to repair her mother. Yes, that's one possible explanation. But we mustn't forget the facts of this case. The victim was observed to fall down after being hugged by the defendant, and the body was moved per the defendant's command. These 2 facts that indicate the defendant's guilt, remain unchanged. This just can't be true. Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence to refute the prosecution's claim? Evidence? Right. Let's see. I can't think of any. I'm afraid I don't have any evidence. Since becoming Chief Prosecutor, I've learned that the truth isn't always pretty. Now accept the truth, Mr. Wright. Your subordinate murdered her own mother. Your Honour, the prosecution demands a verdict. The hostages have suffered enough. What a terrible and tragic conclusion. If the defence has no counter-argument, I see no need to further prolong this trial. Edgeworth's argument seems solid enough, but... there's no way Athena could have ever done anything like that. What do I do? There has to be something. But I can't think of a single thing. Who objected? Blackwell? Why is he here? Prosecutor Blackwell? This is quite the farce you were conducting here. I could die from laughter. Prosecutor Blackwell, what are you talking about? What I'm talking about is that your argument is based on an entirely false premise. Go on. We're listening. Could this be the miracle I need? But what is Prosecutor Blackwell trying to pull here? God knows. 7 years. For 7 long years. This case has been on my mind. Not for an instant did I not think of it. I'm the one who killed my mentor. And don't think you can alter that fact now. Your boldness, I will take to the stand, and I won't take no for an answer. Of course, Prosecutor Blackwell. Please, go ahead. Okay, so he's given a testimony now. Right. 7 years ago. I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Cykes. Is he doing this just to cover for Athena again? Not to say that Athena did it. It feels like that's the case. But when I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Cykes to return. And then I committed the act. Ah, how cathartic it was. Yeah, I think he's just trying to make it out like he is a horrible person. But little Ponko here witnessed the victim falling. In other words...
Objection!
Objection! I actually think I'd prefer Blackwell's voice for Edgeworth. I don't know if Edgeworth's voice for Blackwell would work. It probably would, to be honest. I don't need any of your other words, old man. I can guess what happened. Although I will admit, I'm kind of glad I got to hear Blackwell's objection for the entire game and not Edgeworth's. I don't know, I just don't like Edgeworth's. Which would be... She fell means she fell. Merely that. A mother and child falling around. Perhaps she tripped. Not that it matters. When I entered the lab, there was no trace of Dr. Cykes to be seen. There was no dead body either. Of course. Meaning, she must have left the room. So the murder occurred after the time period Ponko described in her testimony. You should hardly take stock in the words of a wind-up toy.
Objection!
Yeah, I just don't like that objection. Then how do you explain the fact that the defendant had the robot move something? Athena was always tinkering with robots on the operating table to amuse herself. And she always had Ponko to move the heavy ones for her. That day was no different. Ponko moved a heavy robot for Athena. Wow, I can't believe he's come to Athena's rescue. This is awful. What he's saying seems to make sense, and yet...
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, are you trying, even now, to turn away from the truth? Don't you realize we could bring the Dark Age of the Law to a close today?
Objection!
You expect too much from me. I'm just a murderer, beyond redemption. Why don't you just let me go so I can settle down into hell? Oof. Prosecutor Blackwell's execution is tomorrow. If the truth doesn't come out now, it's all over. Are you saying that the little girl and the robot had nothing to do with the murder? That's right. So let's hear your verdict. If we don't hurry, I might miss the ferry across the Styx. No! Don't you dare, Judge. Don't forget I have hostages over here. And Simon, how long are you going to cover for her? Miss Blackwell? Forgive me, Aura. I never wanted you to do anything like this for me. But you agreed to this trial. If you have a counter-argument, then present your evidence. That's the rule of the courtroom. Isn't that right, Chief Prosecutor? Blackwell, you selfish... Well, to be frank, I don't like this, but it's my duty to make a decision. If no one has a counter-argument, I will announce my verdict. Is this really happening? Is it really going to end just like it did 7 years ago? I wanted to do it so bad. Even now, I wanted to fly out of here and go save him. No, I can't tell her. But how can I lie to Athena? If I can't prove Prosecutor Blackwell's innocence in this trial, I don't think Athena will ever forgive me. I can't let this happen. But I just don't have the evidence to counter Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Now who's interrupting? Oh, Athena. Athena, what are you... Are you feeling okay? I can hear it. I can hear the voice of his heart. He's hiding something. If he really is, I could sure use Athena's help here. Her power might be just the thing to get us through this.
Objection!
Cykes, Dono. No need for you to chime in here, just accept that you're innocent.
Objection!
These past 7 years, they've been just as hard on me. Well, they've been just as hard on me, you know. What are you talking about? Do you remember? That horrible, horrible trial? Oh, this is... Yeah, we got a glimpse of this. Please, you have to listen to me. He didn't do it. Yeah, he didn't kill her. His heart is screaming that he didn't kill her. Even now, every time I stand in a courtroom, it comes back to haunt me. Not being heard, no matter how hard you try. feeling so helpless. Yeah, that's when she... It was creepy seeing that one. Caught in people's stares, so scared that it feels like your chest is in a vice. I'm terrified of courtrooms. I want to run out of that door even now. And yet you found a way to keep your fears at bay and become a lawyer. Thanks. That's because one day, I came to realize that I had to fight. I couldn't give up. I exercised hard and I studied hard. I wanted to become the strongest lawyer I could be. This day has finally come. The day I've been looking forward to with all my heart. This is why I became a lawyer. This is why I studied psychology. It was all to save you from this false conviction. But Miss Cykes, do you realize what it would mean? You were the accused after all. If you prove Prosecutor Blackwell innocent, then... The only thing that matters is the truth. It's my duty to find out what that truth is. Simon, please give me this chance. The chance to shake off this fear that's been with me for 7 years and to face the truth. Athena is being so brave confronting her past like this. This might really be the last chance to save them both. Prosecutor Blackwell, please testify one more time about the incident 7 years ago. Fine. But your efforts will surely be in vain. For I am not a man who can be cut down easily. Here we go, Simon. Let me hear the voice of your heart. Okay, it's Mood Matrix time. Whoa. Oh, the unexpected emotion. I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Cykes. Right, so he's angry. But when I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Cykes to return. And then I committed the act. Ah, how cathartic it was. Okay, so that explained it being happy. I suppose the unexpected emotion would be the fact that he's happy to see Athena. Yeah, like Athena was there. This feeling of happiness. Even though the person you were looking for wasn't there, you felt happy. Why is that? Simple. When I was looking for Athena, I hadn't found her yet. I grew worried. Hey Ivan, it's going pretty good. I don't think I'll finish it this session. I was hoping to, but I'm kind of making a snail's pace in this final, like the final part of it. Like I've been going for an hour and I'm not even close. But yeah, it's still going good. So when I saw her in the robotics lab, I was happily relieved. Merely that. Whoa. Damn, that dropped down by 60%. Just now you said you went to the Space Center to kill Dr. Cykes. But the first thing you did was look for her daughter instead? I had no intention of harming Athena, so I wanted to confirm that she was safe first. It was just a part of my plan, nothing contradictory about that. The second I find an inconsistency, he cuts it down. Simon knows the principles of analytical psychology. There's less noise now, but I don't see any instabilities we can latch onto. I was afraid of that. We'll just have to keep chipping away at him, then, bit by bit. Oh yeah,